Alex knew that if he was engaged to Harriet, he would spend quite a lot of time making love to her. Having her in his arms reminded him what a good figure she had. When such thinking sparked a prickling in his groin, Alex decided to bring a swift end to his hugging Harriet so closely. Stepping back from the embrace, he leaned over to snatch a handful of tissues from the box that was kept on the counter and held them out towards her still clenched hands. "Dry your eyes," he ordered. She did as she was told, blowing her nose quite noisily. "Now, I'm taking Harriet out for coffee, and we won't be back for a while," he relayed to Audrey. "Let the others know the situation when they come in, will you?" "Will do," Audrey replied. I'd like to fix my face before I go out anywhere," Harriet requested. "Fair enough," Alex said. "I'll meet you at the lifts in 5 minutes." Grabbing her handbag, Harriet dashed out of the office and along the corridor to the ladies' room, which thankfully was empty. She groaned when the vanity mirror showed flushed cheeks and red-rimmed eyes. Sighing, she splashed them with cold water, glad that she didn't wear eye makeup during the day. Otherwise, she might have ended up looking like a raccoon. Grabbing some paper towels, she dabbed her face dry, after which she swiftly replenished her red lipstick before running a brush through her shoulder-length brown hair. When it fell into its usual sleek curtain without a strand out of place, she conceded that her monthly appointment with one of Sydney's top stylists was worth every cent. It saved her heaps of time every morning and in moments like this, because when Alex said he'd meet her in 5 minutes, he meant 5 minutes. Patience was not one of her boss's virtues. Kindness was, however, and compassion. He'd shown both with Romany and now with her. She should have known he'd be nice to her. Not that she'd expected him to hug her like that. That had been a surprise. So had her bursting into tears in the first place. It wasn't like her to be so emotional, but she supposed it wasn't every day that your dreams for the future were shattered. Maybe if she'd cried buckets during the days after the split with Dwayne, she wouldn't have broken down just now. She hadn't even told Emily, knowing perhaps her friend's critical reaction. She'd just bottled up her feelings, then stupidly started worrying that telling Alex her news would jeopardize her job. As if he would be so cruel as to sack her because she was suddenly single. The very idea was ludicrous. With a final swift glance at her reflection in the mirror, Harriet hurried from the ladies' room and strode quickly along the grey-carpeted corridor, which would bring her to the lift well. Alex was already there, his expression shuttered as he looked her up and down, probably searching for signs that she had herself under control. No way would he want her weeping by his side in public. She gave him a small, reassuring smile, but he didn't smile back. His gaze still probing. "Better now," he said. "Much. You don't have to do this, you know," she added, despite actually wanting to go and have coffee with him. "We could just go back into the office and have coffee there." "Absolutely not. Audrey and the others can hold the fort." The lift doors opened and several office workers piled out, Arc Properties not being the only business with rooms on that particular floor, though theirs were the pick, with Alex's office having a wonderful view of the harbour bridge and the opera house. "Nothing like a good view of Sydney's spectacular icons to help sell property in Australia," he'd told her on the day he'd hired her. Harriet agreed wholeheartedly. "So when did all this happen?" Alex asked her as he waved her into the now empty lift. "The weekend you flew home from London," she told him. He threw a sharp glance over his shoulder as he pressed the ground floor button. "Why didn't you tell me straight away?" he went on, before she could think of a suitable answer. "Did you want to give yourself the opportunity to change your mind, or for Dwayne to change it for you?" No, once I made up my mind, I knew I wouldn't change it. Dwayne hasn't tried to change my mind either. After our last argument, he knew it was over between us." "That must have been some argument." "It was." A rueful smile teased the corners of her mouth. What would Alex say, she wondered, if he knew he'd been the subject of most of that last argument? His eyes narrowed on her. "Want to tell me about it?" She looked up into his gorgeous blue eyes.